Becky Gerritsen. And come on up here, Becky. There are a few people that fit the role of citizen hero. There are men and women who serve extraordinary bravery, our first responders, people of all stripes. But for someone who wasn't politically really active, an American like most people, she and Eric picked up in 2009, right there with us all at the beginning, the original founders, and founded the Wetumpka Tea Party. Now, Becky's talked about it on my show a lot. Her testimony has been played, repeated, studied, analyzed, critiqued, and criticized. Because people are going to criticize. That's what they do. But she represents what we all represent individually in whatever form you're involved in the Tea Party movement. And that is someone who says, my voice should be heard. I have a right to be heard, and agreement is not required. And Becky, that's what makes you a citizen hero. You're a great face of this movement.
God bless you. Appreciate it.
In Wetumpka, we are patriotic Americans. Your post, the post that you occupy, exists to preserve American liberty. You've sworn to perform that duty, and you have faltered. The abuses I will discuss today occurred on your watch, and it's your responsibility to make sure it doesn't happen again. Here are the facts of my case.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Am I on? Can y'all hear me? Okay. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. It truly is an honor to be in the fight for liberty with you. And I appreciate every opportunity that I have to educate the people about the very real abuses that our government has inflicted on patriotic, law-abiding citizens. Our love for our country is what led my husband Eric and I to start the Wetumpka Tea Party on April 15th, 2009. That day, we had an incredible, powerful event, one that literally changed our lives. Under our leadership at the Wetumpka Tea Party, we've united citizens all across our state and nation around conservative principles. We've taken hundreds of citizens to Washington on multiple bus trips, many of you have been on those as well, to stand against Obamacare, the IRS abuses, illegal immigration. We've trained activists on how to promote conservatism. We've taken teams to blue states to help support conservatives running for office. We started watchdog groups at the Alabama State House and our own county commissions. We've helped lead the fight against Common Core in Alabama. We conduct town hall meetings, candidate fairs, debates. We've testified before U.S. Congress about the abuses of the IRS, and we've testified on multiple issues before various committees at the Alabama State House. We've hosted famous authors and movie producers. In 2011, we activated our members to help with tornado relief efforts in our county. Just a few weeks ago, we collected cleaning supplies and financial donations and delivered them to 2 communities that lived a couple of hours away because they were devastated by the holiday floods. Everything we do at the Wetumpka Tea Party is to educate and help citizens engage in the political process, and we've been very successful. We are the largest and the most active Tea Party in the state of Alabama. When we started, we wanted to make sure that our organization was following the law and doing everything legally and above board. So we decided to apply for a 501c4 status, which would allow us not only to educate, but we could also participate in an unlimited amount of lobbying. We could even endorse candidates if we wanted to. We haven't, but we could if we wanted to. So in October of 2010, We sent our full and complete application to the IRS. Everything the IRS needed to determine our tax-exempt status was on that application. For the past 50 years, they've been processing these applications with no problem. Well, 7 days after we sent in our application, we got a letter from the IRS stating that they'd received the application, and lo and behold, they cashed our check for $850. They noted that we should hear something back in about 60 days. That sounds reasonable. Well, we heard nothing back from the IRS for almost a year and a half in the spring of 2012, which just happened to be right smack dab in the middle of the presidential re-election. And that is when I received my first disturbing letter from the IRS. Even though they had all the information they needed to determine our tax-exempt status, their letter stated that they would not process our application unless I completed the enclosed questionnaire. The cover letter stated that I was under penalty of perjury if any of the information I provided was incorrect. The IRS wanted over 80 pieces of additional information about the Wetumpka Tea Party. This is just a very small sample of some of the information they demanded. They wanted the names of all of our volunteers. They wanted our donors' names, the amounts they gave, the dates on which they gave. This is illegal by their own rules to ask this. They wanted to know if any of our donors or volunteers were running for office. If so, what office? Remember, this is the election cycle. They wanted us to turn over all of our communication between any legislative body, emails, phone calls, Facebook messages, etc. They wanted it. They wanted copies of every speech ever given, the speakers' names and their credentials, copies of every handout ever given at our meetings, even flyers and handouts from other organizations that happened to be at our meeting. They demanded to know the dates, times, and locations of all future voter registration drives. Well, this just didn't seem right. So I contacted some of the other Tea Party leaders that I knew across the nation and asked if they were getting similar letters from the IRS. The IRS sent questionnaires to almost 300 conservative organizations representing tens of thousands of Americans. Here are just a few of the items that they asked some of my other friends. These are Tea Party groups and pro-life groups. The IRS wanted to know the contents of their prayers, the books they were reading. They even asked one group to send in a book report. I'm not kidding. Internet passwords and usernames. All workshop materials instructors would use. Copies of every single Facebook post and tweet, along with all other social media and internet postings. They even wanted to know the political and charitable activities of family members. They demanded that the groups reveal their inner workings of their organizations, like their members' names, who they associate with, and even what they discuss. They wanted to know who the applicants' mentors were and what were their mentors' political affiliation. Do y'all see a problem with this? None of these questions have any bearing whatsoever on whether an organization qualifies for a tax-exempt status. You see, the bullies in government were flexing their muscles. They were trying to threaten and intimidate law-abiding citizens into silence and to shut down their right to disagree with this administration. There is so much more about this scandal and our lawsuit against the IRS, but I don't have time to tell it all today. We are still engaged in a lawsuit with the IRS, and there is still a possibility that Lois Lerner and her friends will get their comeuppance. So pray for that. This scandal must be exposed. I believe, and I know you do too, that political speech must be protected. And I will continue to fight the IRS until someone is held accountable. I will not back down, and I will not be silenced. Not only are we engaged in a lawsuit against the IRS for their illegal and unconstitutional actions, but I've decided to take my activism a step further, and I'm running for U.S. Congress in Alabama's 2nd District. I am running because we must stand up to the pathetic leadership and the bullies in our government. Alabama's 2nd Congressional District is very conservative. I am challenging a 3-term Republican incumbent who was elected during the 2010 Tea Party wave. However, she has been an utter disappointment. She was Martha Roby. She was taken under John Boehner's wing as soon as she arrived in Washington, and she has been his biggest cheerleader. Every major conservative organization that does comprehensive scorecards rates her time in Congress as an F. Her voting record is 15 points lower than the Democrat she replaced. She must be defeated. We, the people, must break up the Washington cartel. We will be outspent 20-1 in this race. This is the epic battle of true grassroots conservative versus the Washington establishment. Breitbart called this race the flagship race of 2016. About 2 weeks ago, Politico had an article. They call this race the #3 race of the top 9 primaries to watch in the U.S. I have put together a terrific campaign team. One of the strategists on the Dave Bratt campaign, who beat Eric Cantor in the primary, he's at the helm of my campaign. And we are working very hard. As we travel the district, we have tremendous grassroots support, and we are certainly giving her a run for her money. She is definitely feeling the heat, and she knows she's in trouble because she's just called in the big guns. Yesterday, she got her buddy, Trey Gowdy, to make robocalls for her. But I wear this as a badge of honor. I admire Trey Gowdy's tenacity when he's grilling people during congressional hearings. But how do you feel about Trey Gowdy going out of his way to protect a Washington insider who has done nothing to uphold conservative principles? Remember, she is rated an F, not a D or a C, not by 1 or 2 organizations. She is rated an F by every major conservative organization that does scorecards. Heritage Action, Freedom Works, Club for Growth, Freedom Index, Liberty Index, it just goes on and on. So you might want to, since y'all live here in South Carolina, you might want to give him a phone call and let him know how you feel about that. My opponent, she embodies everything that is wrong with Washington. But as you know, this is what incumbents do. They circle the wagons, no matter how pathetic their record is. But I have good news. 2016 is coming, and this is our year. It is now or never. We must elect a true conservative to the White House, and we must rid Congress and the Senate of every rhino out there. Absolutely. I need your help. My election is 7 weeks away on March 1st, and I need you to help me defeat the Washington cartel. This seat in Alabama's 2nd District matters to the entire country. My website is beckyforcongress.com. I need you right now to take out your checkbook or your credit card and contribute to my campaign. Every dollar matters. I promise you, it is an investment worth making. I will be a champion for conservatives. And I will be upstairs during the breaks at the Tea Party Patriots booth so y'all can come and talk to me during those breaks. But Congressman Duncan, I want you to know that help is on the way. 2016 is our year to crush the Washington cartel and to return the power back to the people. So may God bless you and may God bless America. Thank you so much.